In 1964, Sheila Taber picked up a piece of blue-gray gravel from a creek in Murfreesboro, Arkansas. It felt too heavy. It was greasy when wet. She kept it. That rock turned out to be a 15.33 carat white diamond, sold for $35,000. Her testing equipment that day cost $0. She used her hand. The rock looked like a chunk of old road base, and that is exactly why everyone else walked past it. 5 ugly creek rocks hide rubies, sapphires, and diamonds inside them. You are about to learn which 5 and the 4 field tests that separate treasure from trash using tools that cost less than lunch. By the end of this, you will know exactly why the ugliest rocks in any creek bed are the ones most likely to be carrying something extraordinary. You will learn 4 field tests that cost between $0 and $8. And you will understand why rivers do the sorting work for free. So here's what you need to understand about creek rocks. Rivers do not create gems. They transport them. Water erodes mineral-rich formations upstream, breaks off fragments, tumbles them downstream, and deposits them in bins, riffles, and gravel bars. The rocks that survive this journey without breaking apart are the hard, dense, mineral-rich ones. The same physical properties that make them ugly on the outside, no sparkle, no crystal faces, no color, are the properties that protect what is locked inside. The first rock most people kick downstream is Kimberlite-derived gravel. This is the rock type most directly associated with diamonds on Earth. Kimberlite forms deep in the mantle and blasts upward through volcanic pipes, carrying diamonds along for the ride. Rivers erode those pipes over millions of years and scatter fragments downstream. What you find in the creek is a blue-gray or greenish-gray chunk that does not look like any of the black volcanic rock you are used to seeing. It feels 20 to 30% heavier than the surrounding rocks, the same size. Pick up a regular piece of granite in one hand and the suspect rock in the other. The weight difference is immediate. Here is the field test that separates Kimberlite from everything else. Wet it. Run it under creek water and rub the surface firmly with your thumb. Real Kimberlite feels greasy, soapy, like rubbing a bar of moisturizing soap that has been left in the rain. It will never feel sticky like clay, and it will never feel rough and gritty like basalt. 1 second. No equipment. That soapy texture comes from the serpentine minerals that form during Kimberlite's journey from the mantle. If a freshly broken surface shows a faint metallic sheen on top of that greasy feel, you have found something worth investigating further. But there is a complication. Olivine-rich basalt mimics fresh Kimberlite at a glance. The distinction is hardness. Basalt will not scratch with a knife blade. Kimberlite will. That single knife test eliminates 90% of false positives in the field. If you are finding this useful and you want more locations like this, exact coordinates, field guides, and the stones most people overlook completely, subscribe now. I cover a new identification method every single week. But Kimberlite has a second disguise that fools even experienced rockhounders. Weathered Kimberlite, called yellow ground. This is the one that breaks my heart because people throw it away constantly. It looks exactly like dried clay. Rusty yellow to brown, crumbly, soft, completely worthless in appearance. You would never pick this up on purpose. Therefore, most prospectors walk right over it without a second glance. But yellow ground is simply Kimberlite that has been exposed to surface weathering for thousands of years. The original blue-gray rock oxidizes into this clay-like material. The gems inside do not oxidize. They survive perfectly intact, even when the host rock looks destroyed. The test costs nothing. Submerge the crumbly, yellow-brown material in a bucket of creek water. Work it apart with your fingers. the clay dissolves. Watch what settles to the bottom. Heavy black grains are ilmenite and magnetite, both indicator minerals for diamond-bearing kimberlite. Red grains are garnets, and any small transparent chips that do not dissolve need a loupe. Those chips could be rough diamond. Think about that for a second. The ugliest, most disposable-looking material in the entire creek bed is potentially the richest, and the test to confirm it requires nothing but water and your hands. The third rock looks like a failed science project. Conglomerate nodules. These are the rocks that look like a failed science project. Multiple rock types cemented together into a rough, bumpy mass. No uniform color. No clean edges. They look like nature glued random pebbles together with concrete and threw the result into the creek. But that cement is the trap. Over millennia, gold flakes, garnet grains, and small quartz or sapphire pieces get locked into the natural cement as it forms around other rock fragments. Conglomerate nodules are found in mountain-fed streams, particularly in the Sierra Nevada, Alaska's Yukon River drainages, and Queensland's creek systems in Australia. The identification method is visual. Look for color variations between the cemented fragments. A red spot means garnet. A glassy patch means quartz with potential. A metallic yellow fleck locked in the cement could be placer gold that never made it to the bottom of the creek bed because it got trapped mid-formation. Now, here's where most people make the costly mistake. They see the bumpy, ugly exterior and assume it is just river-worn concrete or calcium deposit. Therefore, they toss it back. But conglomerate forms under very specific geological conditions, and those conditions are the same ones that concentrate heavy minerals. If you are finding conglomerate in a creek that drains from granite or metamorphic terrain, you are in the right geology. Now, here is where the serious money hides. Schist. Schist is a layered, shiny, gray or silver rock that folds under pressure like pages in a book. You have probably seen it before and dismissed it as flaky, worthless slate. But rubies, sapphires, and garnets form in schist under the exact same intense heat and pressure that created the layering in the first place. The gems are not random inclusions. They are products of the same metamorphic event. In 1977, George Steele recovered a 19-carat sapphire crystal from schist-bearing creek gravel in Yogo Gulch, Montana, in the Little Belt Mountains. Yogo sapphires from this drainage regularly grade at $500 to $2,000 per carat rough. The rock he pulled it from was silver gray, flaky, and looked like every other piece of creek schist in the drainage. The giveaway is color. Red to pink spots embedded in the silver layers are not rust stains. They are corundum, the mineral family that includes both ruby and sapphire. Corundum has a Mohs hardness of 9, which means those colored spots will scratch steel, glass, and virtually everything else in the creek. If you find a silver gray layered rock with colored spots that scratch a knife blade, you are holding a gem-bearing schist. Creek schist from the Rocky Mountains, Appalachians, and Alpine river systems regularly carry sapphire fragments locked into the fold lines. In 2021, an anonymous prospector in Harts Range, Northern Territory, Australia, broke open a 4.8 kilogram garnet-bearing schist nodule in a dry creek bed. Inside was a gem-quality rhodolite garnet cluster valued at approximately 12,000 Australian dollars by a Darwin dealer. The exterior looked like flaky silver mud, which, looking back, was either incredibly lucky or incredibly well-informed. The last rock on this list is the most common and the most overlooked. Agate and chalcedony nodules. These are the smooth, rounded, deceptively dull creek rocks that roll under your boots every time you wade through gravel. Externally, they are boring, gray, brown, sometimes vaguely reddish. The outer rind is always duller than what is inside. Here is the $8 test that changes everything. Press a pocket flashlight flat against the rock in low light. Agate transmits orange-red light through the stone. Jasper and ordinary basalt block light completely. Any glow means there is structure inside worth investigating. If you see faint translucency or banding when you hold it up to sunlight, there is likely a cavity inside that nodule. Break the right one open, and you find amethyst, citrine, or smoky quartz crystal pockets. Agate nodules are found across the southwestern United States, in Oregon's Owyhee River system, and in specimens of Brazilian origin that made it into North American creek systems via glacial transport millions of years ago. The challenge is that agate nodules are extremely common, and most contain no gem quality interior. The translucency test filters the promising ones, but it does not guarantee a valuable pocket inside. You need to crack several before you find one with well-formed crystals. But here's the physical detail most people miss. Weight matters here too. An agate nodule with a large crystal pocket inside is noticeably lighter than a solid agate of the same size. The hollow cavity reduces density. Therefore, a lighter than expected agate that also passes the flashlight test has the highest probability of containing gem quality crystals. So the pattern is clear. The 5 ugliest rock types in any creek: blue-gray lumps, crumbly yellow clay, cemented conglomerates, flaky silver layers, and dull rounded nodules, are precisely the ones carrying the most valuable minerals. Every single one of them protects its contents behind an exterior designed to make you throw it back. The 4 field tests cost a combined total of $8. Wet hand feel for kimberlite, water submersion for yellow ground, color variation for conglomerate and schist, pocket flashlight for agate. That is your entire identification toolkit. The next time you are standing in a creek and you reach down for a smooth, pretty quartz pebble, look at the ugly rock sitting next to it, the one you would normally kick downstream. Pick it up, feel its weight, wet it, check its texture. That ugly rock might be the only one in the entire creek bed worth taking home.